You know the look. The meeting that should have been an email. The quick favor that eats your afternoon. The colleague who assumes your time is communal property. The family plan that arrives as a last-minute decree. You smile because you're trained to be agreeable. And somewhere inside a smaller version of you whispers, "Not again." The Stoics would not judge your kindness. They would judge your structure. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask you to become a statue. He asked you to become a person whose internal government isn't overthrown by every passerby. If people keep walking over you, the problem is not your heart. It's the lack of a visible price on your time, an unclear constitution for your attention, and a habit of treating other people's urgency as your duty. This is the episode where you change that without becoming hostile, where you replace loudness with calm leverage. If that sounds like oxygen, make a small public commitment right now. Tap like so the algorithm doesn't bury this, and type frame in the comments if you will claim one clear boundary today. Good, now we work. First we define the game, because the frame sets the rules. Being walked over is not a personality trait. It's a recurring pattern where your goals, time, and standards get subordinated to someone else's without a conscious exchange. Notice the word exchange. Stoicism is allergic to victimhood because it's obsessed with agency. Every time you say yes reflexively, you sign a contract you never read. The Stoic asks, was there a price? Was there a trade? Did you decide? A room without a frame defaults to urgency, drama, and whoever pushes hardest. A room with your frame defaults to clarity, trade-offs, and adult decisions. Claiming the frame begins with a pause, 2 beats of breath, and one framing question that converts energy into structure. What result do you want by when? Given current capacity, what are we dropping? Who owns this? That's not being difficult. That's being a grown-up. People don't walk over bridges that wobble. Your job is to stop wobbling. Epictetus taught the split that liberates you. What is within your control versus what is not. Most trampling begins with a failure to make that split in real time. You try to control their expectations, feelings, approval, and timing. You ignore what you actually have the wheel on. Your consent, your standards, your calendar, your response latency, your choice of medium, your artifacts. The control split applied under pressure sounds like this. I can't control that you came late. I can control that I won't stay late. I can't control your disappointment. I can control a clear alternative. I can't control your urgency. I can control what gets dropped if I accept it. You stop negotiating your dignity and start negotiating the plan. When you do, the tone in the room shifts from push to trade. The person across from you may still push, but now they push against a wall, not a sponge. Posture is part of the frame, and I don't mean performative alpha. I mean the quiet physiology of someone who will not be rushed against their will. Feet grounded, shoulders released, jaw soft, eyes steady, breath down into the belly. Speak slower than the most anxious person in the room. End sentences with a period. The limbic system reads this as unmoved. Between question and answer, take one full breath. That half second is the opening where your values can enter the chat. The room isn't just listening to your words, it's scanning whether you believe yourself. Calm posture tells the room you enforce your own laws. Time to put steel into the edges. Boundaries without cost invite violation. The goal is not hostility, it's friction. When the edge has a clear price, people think before stepping. Use the 3-tier refusal system so your mouth has moves under stress. First tier, no with help. I want to help. To do that, here's what we drop or delay. It's warm, it's specific, it makes the trade visible. Second tier, no with swap. I can't do Thursday. If we move to next Tuesday with a decision ready, doc, I'm in. You don't reject, you reshape. Third tier, no with standard. I don't commit without clear owner, deadline, and definition of done. Send those, and I'll confirm within 24 hours. This is the filter. A surprising amount of requests evaporate when accountability appears. Delivery matters. Keep your face relaxed, your voice low. Don't explain your entire life. One clean reason beats an essay. Reasons create edges. Essays invite cross-examination. There's a myth that the problem is other people. Usually the problem is your calendar. Calendars are constitutions. If anyone can edit yours, you don't have a personal government. You have a public park. Write your constitution now. Mornings reserved for deep work, for example 8:30, 10:30. 2 afternoon windows per week for service, say Tuesday and Thursday 3, 4:30, and a triage rule pinned to your status. Emergencies, customer outage, legal risk, or direct financial loss, X. Everything else, async within 24, 48 H. Add a response standard. Executives, customers, same day. Internal, 24, 48 H. FYIs, 72 homes. Live it for 2 weeks. Patterns will recalibrate around you. You'll feel like a jerk for 3 days. Then you'll feel like a person. People push back. I'm junior. I can't do that. Stoicism doesn't care about rank. It cares about rigor. Junior people with stable frames outpace loud seniors with messy ones. Your leverage is preparation. Pair your boundaries with artifacts so your no carries a useful yes. I can't join the meeting, but I drafted a one-pager with options, risks, and my recommendation. Review takes 5 minutes. You become the person who makes decisions easier. The room stops trying to recruit your hours and starts seeking your artifacts. That's status without noise. Let's run edge cases because they're where you normally fold. Your manager says, "Can you just own the partner rollout too?" Old you says yes and dies under the weight. Stoic you takes 2 beats and delivers the triangle. We're at capacity on feature A. If I own rollout, option 1 is to push A 1 week. Option 2 is to hand A to Dana and accept lower speed for 2 weeks. Option 3 is to drop the research sprint. I recommend option 1. Which do you prefer? You didn't debate feelings, you forced a choice. The most common response to a forced choice is not anger. It's relief, because someone finally turned fog into a menu. If they insist on everything, you repeat the frame. For clarity, doing all 3 creates risk of missed commitments. I can proceed with your call. Confirm which slip you accept. Then stop talking. Silence here is not passive. It's pressure that demands ownership. A friend texts, "You're free Saturday, right? We need help moving." Old you groans and obeys. Stoic you answers, "I want to help. Saturday morning is locked. I can do Sunday 10-1 with the truck. If Saturday's fixed, I'll book you a mover I trust and cover the first hour." That is kindness with edges. You value the relationship in your life. They can accept, adjust, or decline. Their disappointment is not your proof of guilt. It's an emotion they'll survive. Adults with clean frames don't punish each other for having them. In relationships, the same physics applies, with more tenderness and more listening. Overstepping often isn't malice. It's inertia plus unspoken expectations. Claim the frame with a shared map approach. I love that we want more spontaneous time. When plans change last minute, I rush and say yes when I mean no. My map is, if we set by Thursday night, I'm all in. If it's late Friday, I'll join for the first hour, then keep my plan. Can we test that for 2 weeks and review on Sunday? You're not laying down the law, you're proposing a rhythm. Healthy partners will dance with you. Toxic dynamics will frame your boundary as betrayal. That response is diagnostic, not a reason to erase yourself. Now we wrap muscle around the frame with time sovereignty. Scarcity is not a personality, it's a schedule. If you make yourself a ghost, trust collapses. If you make yourself endlessly reachable, price collapses. The middle path is scarcity windows, predictable pockets of absence that protect your craft, and visible pockets of presence that sustain the relationship. Set your status to heads down 8 to 10:30, office hours 2 to 3, 4:30. Urgent, reply urgent, plus impact, read customer, and time. You train the world how to reach you and when. Pair that with the one-breath rule. Before agreeing to anything non-trivial, inhale, exhale, then answer. That half-second saves days. Install a 24-hour lag for non-urgent asks. I'll confirm tomorrow after checking the board. In reality, you're checking your values. Authority that sticks doesn't shout, it whispers. Whisper authority is the art of speaking softly and deciding hard. 3 signals prove it: latency, cadence, and density. Latency, you don't react instantly, especially under heat. You take the 2-beat breath, and you use time as a tool. Cadence. You talk in triangles, premise, choice, consequence, so people can stand on your words. Density. You reduce adjectives, increase numbers, and end with next steps. Try it in your next escalation. Traffic is down 12%. We have 3 paths: produce more content, fix onboarding, or tighten the offer. Given headcount, I recommend tightening the offer for 60 days, then reassess. If approved, I'll ship a plan by EOD. Notice the feel: calm, grounded, adult. People stop walking over you because your speech creates rails. Chaos can't trample rails. You don't need a crowd, you need a triangle. The Alliance Ledger protects your autonomy without loneliness. Pick a sponsor who can open a door you can't, an operator who can execute when you're at your limit, and a craft exemplar whose standards keep you honest. Each gets a clean value exchange. With the sponsor, quarterly artifact you can forward without babysitting. I want one directional note. With the operator, I design the system, you run the playbook, we share the win publicly. With the exemplar, we exchange one memo a month, brutal notes accepted. Rule 7, this changes how you enter any room, says you never walk alone again. You walk in with a structure that lengthens your reach. The room sees one person. The process feels a team. In the economy of respect, opinions are cheap, artifacts are heavy. If you're tired of talking over talkers, stop competing on noise and start competing on weight. A one-page decision memo with problem, constraints, options, decision, and next steps outmuscles half an hour of "I feel like." A capacity card, one small table listing your current commitments, deadlines, and slack, will do more to prevent scope creep than a week of grousing. A small dashboard that updates every Friday kills gossip because numbers don't take sides. Build a habit of shipping something that can be forwarded without you. That is the test. If your work needs you in the room to make sense, your status is tied to your vocal cords. If your work stands without you, your status scales while you sleep. Let's walk through concrete plays you can run this week. Start mornings with a 90-minute block where you are unreachable by default. The rule is binary. Either the building is on fire or you're not opening the door. Your brain needs one victory before lunch to trust you. Begin each block with a one-line prompt. The one artifact that would make today undeniable is... Underline it. Move that thing to 80%. Every time you feel the itch to check, say out loud, "Back to the artifact," and keep typing. The speech sounds silly. It works. After lunch, run 2 25-minute sprints of service inside your office hour window. Return messages, unblock teammates, answer the questions that make you valuable, but do it inside the rails. Then check your capacity card and adjust tomorrow's blocks. Evenings, run a brief night dojo. Close 3 open loops. Write 1 page answering, "What did I advance? What did I avoid? What needs a decision?" Move your body for 15 minutes to harden your stress tolerance, and read 10 pages of something that will outlive the week. That ritual makes your no feel less like defense and more like craft. You will be tested the moment you start. The universe loves to greet a boundary with a tiny exception. A VP pings you during your deep block. A friend calls during your office hours with a crisis that's not a crisis. Don't make the exception silently. If you flex, narrate the cost. "I'm breaking my deep block for this because it impacts revenue. In exchange, I'll ship feature A tomorrow instead of today." If it's not worthy, you don't flex. That narration trains others and your own nervous system to treat your laws as real. It also leaves a breadcrumb when someone tries to rewrite history later. You can point to the trade you named. Common errors will try to sabotage you. The first is the nice person reflex. You say yes because silence feels unsafe. Cure it with the one-breath rule and a default script. Keep one sentence ready. "Happy to help. To do that, here's what we drop." Say it even when you blush. Your mouth needs reps. The second is confusing attention with respect. You accept panels, committees, and chatty groups because they make you feel visible. If the activity doesn't connect to leverage, you're paying the crowd tax. Add a weekly ledger line, glare versus weight. If it shines but doesn't move anything, decline. The third is performative boundaries. You post about deep work while your phone owns your limbic system. Move the phone to another room during your 90-minute block. Willpower won't beat proximity. The fourth is over-asceticism. You turn scarcity into ghosting and lose trust. That's why we create windows of presence and keep them generous. The fifth is perfectionism. Your artifacts gather dust in drafts, ship ugly, fix live. Praise decks that never ship don't raise status. Shipping does. Because we teach philosophy to be used, here are scripts to print and practice. When a meeting lacks an agenda. To help well, what's the clear outcome and the 3 decisions we need? If it's status, I'll send a memo. No meeting needed. When someone says, it'll take 1 minute, drop the decision you need in 3 bullets, I'll reply async. When a peer asks you to just take it, I can own it with 1 trade, either push A 1 week or drop C. Which do you prefer? When a leader wants progress without choices, we can hit date with reduced scope, keep scope and move date, or add risk with overtime. I recommend option 1, approve. When a friend tries to recruit your time through guilt, I want to be there. I can offer Sunday 10-1 and the truck. If Saturday's fixed, here's a mover I trust. When a partner oversteps your evening, I want spontaneous time and I need pre-commitment to show up as my best. If we set by Thursday, I'm in. If it's Friday late, I'll join for the first hour. Can we try this 2 weeks? Your tone is the delivery mechanism. Lower, slower, shorter. Let silence punctuate. Metrics turn vibes into choices. Track 4 numbers for the next month. Interruptions reduced. Count how many times you were pulled off your deep block. Aim to cut by 50% in 2 weeks. Time to decision. Measure hours between receiving a clear proposal and replying yes, no. Aim under 24 hours when criteria are met, over 24 when they're not. Latency is a tool, not a tick. Artifacts shipped. Log at least 1 forwardable artifact per week. 3, if you want compounding. Boundary scripts used. Tally each no with help, swap, standard. You want a high number early to reset norms, then watch it drop as the environment adapts. Add an energy note, sleep start times and whether you moved your body. Add a psychology note, 1 line each night, sovereign act, and herd reflex resisted. If the numbers worsen when your calendar fills, that's not a moral failure. It's a signal that your constitution is being amended without a vote. Reinforce the laws. Now a scenario sprint to install reflexes. You're in a bloated status meeting. It's circling. Old you tries to win with wit. Stoic you takes 2 beats and cuts the room. 2 threads. On scope we have A, hit date with reduced features. B, keep scope and move date. C, overtime with risk. My vote is A for 60 days. Any strong objection? Then you stop. Silence is an ally. Or a senior exec pings quick call during your deep block. Old you jumps. Stoic you replies, in deep work until 10:30. If urgent with customer or legal impact, say urgent plus impact and I'll flex. Otherwise, I'll send a note at 11. Half the time, the call disappears, replaced by a paragraph you can solve in 5 minutes. Or someone interrupts you mid-sentence. Old you gets louder. Stoic you says, hold. 2 ideas just collided. Let me finish the decision path, then I want your pushback. You didn't fight their volume. You reclaimed the rail. Leadership under pressure doesn't require title. It requires rails. Use triangles to decide and bridges to explain. Triangles are premise, choice, consequence. Bridges are acknowledgement, boundary, offer. When hit with accusation, you never help. You bridge. I hear you want more help. My boundary is no last-minute Saturday changes. My offer is Sunday 10-1 or I book the mover. What works? When hit with a vague ask, we need to be more strategic. You triangulate. Strategic means choosing trade-offs. We can expand channels, fix onboarding, or focus on LTV. Given Q3, I recommend LTV. Approve? Both moves remove theater and introduce choices. There's a softer dimension we rarely name. Self-respect grows in the quiet proof that you keep promises to yourself. You will feel less angry at people when your life has fewer unkept commitments in it. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about choosing actions worthy of who you're trying to become. That self-respect makes you harder to walk over because you're already standing. You don't need them to behave perfectly to live well. You have a constitution. If you're still worried this will make you cold, hear this. Warmth with edges is the most trustworthy combination in any room. People don't actually want you endlessly available. They want to know the rules and trust you to follow them. When you enforce your laws without drama, you teach others how to relax around you. The loudest compliment you'll ever receive is quiet. Fewer urgent pings, shorter meetings, more forwardable artifacts, and a reputation that your yes means yes and your no means no with a useful path attached. That is how respect compounds. Let's lock it with a 7-day protocol because philosophy lives or dies in practice. Day 1. Claim a 90-minute deep block and physically remove your phone from the room. Start with the one-line prompt and ship a half-baked artifact by end of day to break perfectionism. Day 2. Install agenda or async on any meeting request and deliver one no with help script. Write down the result. Day 3. Run office hours for 60-90 minutes. Move 3 people forward quickly and log the questions that repeat. Turn them into a mini FAQ you can paste next time. Day 4. Night dojo at full length. Write the page, what I advanced, what I avoided, what needs a decision, and send one decisive note to a stakeholder. Short, triangular, with a recommendation. Day 5. Build or update a capacity card and share it with your manager. Use it to negotiate scope explicitly. Day 6. Identify your alliance triangle, sponsor, operator, exemplar, and send each a clean value exchange note. Day 7. Ship day. No new inputs, only outputs. Release the artifact that makes next week lighter. Metrics for the challenge. Artifacts shipped, just 2. Boundary scripts used, just 3. Meetings declined or converted to async, just 2. Night dojo sessions, just 3. Interruptions during deep blocks, cut by 30%. Post your results publicly with Edge, so this dojo sees you did your reps. There will be days you backslide. You'll say yes to prove you're easy. You'll let someone stretch your evening. You'll let a meeting steal your morning. Stoicism's mercy is simple. You are allowed to be new at this. The point is not purity, it's trajectory. Tonight, write one sentence you wish you had said. Tomorrow, say it. Your life doesn't change because you discover a magic phrase. It changes because you practice a lawful pattern that refuses to sell your time for applause. With a month of practice, people will start telling you that you feel calmer, more precise, easier to follow. Rooms will organize around your rails because you created rails. That is what it means to stop being walked over without becoming a wall. You did not harden, you clarified. Before we close, remember the central reframe. Respect is not a feeling you extract. It's a gravity you generate. You generate it by making your edges costly but fair, by speaking in decisions instead of dramas, by standardizing your kindness into windows instead of letting it leak everywhere, by shipping artifacts that stand without you, and by measuring your week like a person who runs a life, not a life that runs a person. That's the Stoic way. Freedom inside, structure outside, generosity in the middle. If this helped, mark your commitment. Type frame if you'll claim a deep block tomorrow. Type clock if you'll defend the night dojo 3 times this week. And type edge if you'll run the 7-day protocol and post your metrics. Share this with one colleague who is quietly drowning in quick favors. Subscribe for the next piece in this series where we pressure test whisper authority under fire. And before you leave, do one radical thing that will look small to others, but signal a new constitution to you. Open your calendar, put one standing meeting on trial, and delete it. Use that recovered hour to build an artifact that speaks for you. The moment you start living by laws you chose, people stop stepping on you. Not because they became kinder, but because you became clear.